How well do you actually know the brand CF Moto? In this video, I visited CF Moto at their factory in China, about 2 hours south of Shanghai, and now I'm going to show you these 4 bikes. Stay tuned. So yes, I tested 4 bikes for you all in one morning. Yesterday, I had a full tour of the CF Moto factory. That's a separate video you'll find on our YouTube channel. But now, let's take a closer look at the 4 bikes I got to ride for you. We'll start with the adventure bike, the 800. I tested it on both tarmac and off-road style terrain. This is actually the development track here at CF Moto. The product managers were very keen to hear my feedback on the bike. And I have to say, even on the rough test surface, it delivered a stable and confidence-inspiring ride. The 800 also offered solid ergonomics. One thing I did notice across all 4 bikes, and this is something you'll often find with many manufacturers, is that they tend to fit fairly soft seats. But to be fair, CF Moto offers various seat height options for almost all of their bikes. So depending on how tall you are, you'll have no trouble finding a setup that works for you. Another thing I noticed, they're running CSD tires on all the bikes here. That's apparently their development partner. These tires aren't really known in our market, but I have to say, whether on the adventure bike or the naked bikes, they offered a solid level of stability. Even on this hot, grippy asphalt, the traction was impressive. They also gave a nicely neutral and confident feel when leaning into corners. I have to admit, I was surprised and convinced. I was skeptical at first because tires can be a bit of a brand image thing, as you all know. But these definitely won me over, especially for OEM fitments. They're quality products. What you've got to understand is they're facing a pretty unique challenge. CF Moto is the market leader here in China. They're the top brand for high-capacity motorcycles. And when we're talking about big displacement bikes like this 800, that's already considered top shelf over here. Most people in Chinese cities are riding electric scooters. Some might go up to 250 models. But this is absolutely a high-end product. So on the one hand, they're the market leader in their home country. On the other, in Europe, they've become a welcome addition, a fresh new brand that's really entered people's awareness over the past 2 or 3 years. For me, the ergonomics were spot on. The riding feel was great. If there's one thing they could maybe improve, it would be to add some elements to reduce vibrations. The throttle response was good and the ABS was very well set up, practical and usable. You can brake hard with full confidence. This really is a worthy top-tier model in their range. I'd say it's a great addition to the segment. As you can see, I'm 185 tall, and with this seat option, the ergonomics worked perfectly for me. But now, let's step it down a level. The current superstar in CF Moto's lineup, the 450 MT, I've known this bike for a while now. It came out last year. And I've got to say, folks, I hope I said the right things. They actually asked me about it. There were 8 people standing behind me, literally hanging on my every word. It's not every day they have a European visitor here who they really respect and are eager to hear from. So they were listening carefully. They asked me directly, what do they need to do to remain market leaders with this model? They know the bike's been a big hit. And they're well aware that other brands are now trying to release similar models. So they asked, what should we do to stay ahead? And I could see they were about to head in the wrong direction. They were already thinking about increasing the displacement, packing in more features, but I hope I said the right thing. For your sake, for all of us, I told them, build the lightest bike, don't stuff it full of fluff, make it light, make it tough. And they were scribbling away in their notebooks. I think they were genuinely pleased to hear that. It was a totally new angle for them. They were really convinced they needed to add more features, more power, more of everything. They asked me directly, what do they need to do to remain market leaders with this model? They know the bike's been a big hit. And they're well aware that other brands are now trying to release similar models. So they asked, what should we do to stay ahead? And I could see they were about to head in the wrong direction. They were already thinking about increasing the displacement, packing in more features, but I hope I said the right thing. For your sake, for all of us, I told them, build the lightest bike, don't stuff it full of fluff, make it light, make it tough. And they were scribbling away in their notebooks. I think they were genuinely pleased to hear that. It was a totally new angle for them. They were really convinced they needed to add more features, more power, more of everything. They think it needs more power. I don't know where these ideas come from. That's exactly the mistake so many manufacturers make. Eventually, they overload these models with features. Then they end up too expensive, too heavy, and not as reliable. This bike should stay exactly as it is. It's a brilliant motorcycle. I really enjoy riding it. It's got a very likable character. And whenever they do try to innovate, the focus should be on making it lighter. I don't know how you see it. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. They do have one bit of homework though. For taller riders, there's an awkward edge on the seat unit here. That needs to be smoothed out. Aside from that, the ergonomics are spot on, both for riding while standing and while sitting. The MT450 is just a fascinating, enjoyable enduro. You'll happily ride it to the ice cream parlor, to the beach, or to work, but just as happily head down a small off-road track or veer off onto an adventure trail. It's a wonderfully balanced, likable bike. In my view, it's currently the leading product on the market in this displacement and price segment. They've really raised the bar with this one. A genuinely welcome addition to the market. Now, where I think they've got big potential as well is in the supersport segment with their SR models. Why? Because while this space used to be ultra competitive, more and more manufacturers are pulling out of it or just not investing in innovation anymore. But CF Moto is still putting in the effort. They're continuing to bring new ideas to the table. And apparently, we'll see a new model unveiled at EICMA this year. Something exciting, even in the larger displacement range. And apparently, we'll see a new model unveiled at EICMA this year. Something exciting, even in the larger displacement range. And what they've really nailed with this bike, in my opinion, is the overall feel. When I sit on it, I think to myself, oh yeah, this is comfortable enough for a nice touring ride. But at the same time, it's cool enough to make me feel like I'm on a proper supersport machine. The handling is smooth and confident. You look into a corner and it naturally follows the line. It turns in effortlessly and strikes a perfect balance between everyday usability and a fun, sporty riding experience. The sound is solid too. They asked me what they need to do to become even more successful in the supersport segment. And I told them, work on the image. Young riders love strong image and good design. And I think they've already made some great progress in that regard. I really like the design of the front end. The rear looks sharp too. Personally, I would have preferred a slightly firmer seat and a bit more grip in the saddle, especially for when you go into a bit of hang-off riding. But aside from that, it's a solid product. Again, I put myself on the line for you. I told them, yes, absolutely offer it as an A2 bike. They weren't sure, but I said, definitely. I believe A2 riders would love it, especially as the competition in that space is steadily shrinking. That's really the challenge now. Even in this segment, they can make bold statements. And with CF Moto, the situation is a bit different compared to the Japanese brands. With Japanese manufacturers, Yamaha, Honda, Kawasaki, Suzuki, you've got a similar brand image across the board. You know they're reliable, well-built products. The value for money is roughly the same. But with Chinese brands, it's a completely different story. You can't lump them all together. They each come at the European market with completely different intentions and standards. CF Moto is the market leader in China. They're also the market leader in Europe when it comes to quads with a 40 to 50% market share. And from that position, their approach is to offer leading products in their segments, not just slap together some cheap alternative. But of course, they often get thrown into the same box as low-cost Chinese manufacturers who don't come anywhere near this level of quality. That's their current challenge. And I told them, it's actually very simple how you change that. Build great bikes. Build machines like the 450 MT. Build cracking naked bikes. Do that consistently for 10 years and people will get it. They'll see the quality. This particular bike is in a really competitive field. It's an entry-level naked. Visually, it's bold and extroverted. It won't be to everyone's taste, but we've got loads of choice in the market. You've got classic naked bikes with hammer engines, and you've got more futuristic looking ones like this. Personally, I feel that if you lined up 10 naked bikes, this one would stand out with its sporty styling. But in terms of feel, it's actually more on the soft side. Features like the ABS are tuned fairly conservatively. That means you won't be pulling off razor-sharp, sporty maneuvers just because the bike looks fast. But to be fair, they've nailed a very good balance. It's stable, it's agile, and it feels genuinely practical. Wide handlebars, very comfortable. You could ride all day with this. It weaves easily through cones. And the riding position is so well designed that you'd happily go on long tours with it. You can tell the people involved in development here really understand motorcycling. Every single one of them is a passionate rider. I spent hours looking at photos on their phones, tour after tour. Then I showed them some of mine too. I mean, I'm not exactly easy to beat in a touring contest. No one's done more varied trips than I have. One of the guys even showed me his monthly touring calendar with a massive ride all the way to Tibet. So you really shouldn't underestimate them or write them off as just those quirky Chinese guys. You have to realize these are just as passionate, just as slightly mad about bikes as we are. They dream about Dakar, they dream about MotoGP, they have the same kinds of dreams we do, wanting to experience amazing things on a motorcycle, and you can feel that. This isn't sterile, made on a drawing board engineering. These are bikes made by people who love what they do. They're emotional, fun-focused products, and you notice it. I've ridden over 1,000 different bikes by now, and I can tell this was built by someone who genuinely wanted riders to have a blast with it. That's what really stood out to me here. It's a thread that runs through the whole range. Yes, the seats are generally on the softer side, but in terms of chassis, they're working at a very good level. There's a solid balance between comfortable seating, good handling, and stable dynamics. And in terms of build quality and overall finish, they're on a strong level too. I hope I've been able to give you an exciting look at these 4 bikes. I've added a link below to another video where I take you on a tour of the factory here. You'll get more insight into CF Moto, their production methods, and how the bikes are actually made. Not all of them are assembled in one place. They've got various sites. Yesterday, I watched the assembly of the MT450, for example. But that's a story for another time. Now go ahead and leave a comment. Did I represent our perspective properly? Should they keep making light, accessible adventure bikes? Should their naked bikes continue to offer affordability and cool design at the same time? Post your thoughts below, especially about the supersport segment. That's something they also asked me. Should they keep developing supersports for young riders, or should they just stick with naked bikes? Post your thoughts below. They really do read every single comment, and I know for a fact they use your feedback to guide their product development over the next few years. Thanks a lot. Cheers and bye. See you next time on 1000 PS TV.